Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and not a year goes by, like not a fucking year, where we don't hear a story about a waitress who gets mistreated by a customer, usually in either a sexist or racist way, without a tip or writing something really horrible on the receipt that doesn't go viral and lead to an outpour of support by people who never actually want to verify the claims of the person who believes that they are a victim. And almost every time a story like this goes viral, it only takes a matter of days for the story to be proven as false and people to sit there and go, God damn it, we were fooled again. Next time ain't going to happen, right? It goes back to that old George W. Bush quote, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, you're not going to fool me again. No, they're always fooled. They always take the bait. And I believe Milo Yiannopoulos put it best on the Real Time with Bill Maher. Liberals always take the goddamn bait. And in this particular case, it's no fucking different. So over there in Virginia at a restaurant named Anita's. Now, some of my long-term viewers are gonna hear that name and immediately kind of laugh to themselves and go, a restaurant named Anita's, a false claim of victimization? It's funny because it's true. You have a waitress by the name of Kelly Carter who was serving a group of people. The total came to $30.52, and on the receipt, it says, great service, don't tip black people, right? Just great service, don't tip black people. Now, she says, I looked at it 3 times. I was just totally taken aback by it. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Kelly then snapped a photo and shared it on social media, you'd be wrong. It was a nearby couple that happened to see her in this particular situation, and they are the ones that took a snapshot and posted it to social media, causing it to go viral. And then somebody else in Florida opened up, I think, a You Caring account on behalf of Kelly Carter and raised a total of $3,600, all while the NAACP came down to the restaurant, spoke to the management, looked at the receipt, and determined that it is, in fact, legit. Except there's one problem with that, right? There's one problem with that. One, if you take a look at the receipt and you look at the signature, you can clearly see that the signature and the writing on the receipt aren't the same fucking handwriting. So unless somebody else in that group's out there and wrote great service, don't tip black people, then something's a little afoot here, right? Because the person whose actually receipt it was came forward and spoke out through an attorney that says, no, we did not write great service, don't tip black people. They wrote nothing. In fact, when it comes to a tip, they left 1 cent because according to them, Kelly Carter was horrible at her job, gave them horrible service. And so instead of leaving no tip, they left that dreaded 1 cent, which shows the server, oh, they done goofed. Right? Now, I personally am against tipping culture, but I've never gone as far as to leave that 1 cent. I'm never that mean. All right. I may disagree with the forced nature of it, but god damn it, that's fucked up. And the customer's attorney even goes on to say that the client feels and harbors no ill will towards African Americans, and that the client would not or would ever write anything refusing to tip African Americans because of their race. Because that's basically what's happening here, is Kelly Carter, by taking this particular situation and running with it the way that she did, which like I said happens at least once a year, all right, she is essentially saying that this person, whoever the customer was, whoever signed their name to that receipt, is a racist. And that in and of itself, at least through the lens of defamation, which is what I believe this would be considered, would be considered, I think it should be considered a hate crime, because she's trying to perpetuate hate and racism through somebody else's name. And it's always those situations where the people that make these kind of claims, we're finding out more often than not that they're the ones that are guilty of what they claim to fucking hate. Now, not only is the receipt not the one that, or did the customer didn't write this. According to some other people who looked at this, clearly the receipt that Kelly had the other customers take a picture of is a reprint. And so somebody else in the store signed the name, and then somebody else, and then she wrote her name on there as well, right? Which goes back to my earlier point that the typography or the whatever, the writing doesn't, not typography, whatever, the handwriting doesn't match up. So right now, the NAACP is looking into this issue. Keep in mind that these guys came out and they were like, we support Kelly Carter, we support this person. And now they're looking into it with that whole, oh shit, how do we get this egg off of our face? So the story isn't done yet. The exposed nature of it is, which I think is going to do all the work it needs to be done. The thing is, there are people out there who are absolute victims and that do need help when they are a victim. The problem with people like Kelly Carter and others who sit there and they fake victimization and they fake these attacks and they fake these claims and they push these false narratives is that it makes it harder for actual true victims of any race, any gender, any color, any creed, any whatever to come forward and be taken seriously as a result. Which is one of the reasons why every time something like this comes up and it goes viral in the way that a story like this would, and like I said before, they frequently have this happen, it is up to everyone, and I mean everyone, to ask the tough questions, to demand evidence, to demand proof, to demand an investigation be conducted before giving any money out whatsoever. And I understand that people's primary source of giving is through their wallet, because if they immediately hand over 20 or 50 bucks, in the long run to them it's not a lot of money, but if hundreds of people are doing it, then that money for the person who's lied then racks up super quick, therefore validating the experience for anyone else who wants to make those claims, because they know deep down that they're probably going to get caught. But if they get caught and they make 5 or 6 grand in the process, well shit, that's 5 or 6 grand they didn't have before. And that is the problem. These kind of attacks, especially coming right now. See, some people might argue that someone like Kelly or whoever she works with is trying to perpetrate racism. I think this person is trying to use racism as a way to gain financially, which is just horrifically wrong. Racism, sexism, doesn't matter who it's aimed at on either name, any ism is generally wrong, right? I mean, they're pretty much all wrong, but they're wrong and people use them for financial gain is just fucking horrible and does need to be called out repeatedly. So if you are a person out there that believes these kind of stories when you see them, I really want you to stop for a second the next time one of these pops up and ask yourself how true it is, and then read the article, look into it, ask for the information, ask for the evidence, because there's nothing wrong with asking for proof of someone's claims, because a person's word is pretty much all they have at the end of the day. And if their word is bullshit, if their actions are bullshit, then they themselves are generally full of shit and not to be trusted. And the problem with it is that we have such a rapidly moving world that when we come across a cause that we might care about, it's sometimes easier just to throw down a couple dollars instead of actually looking into it, because then we feel like we've done something. But all that does in these kind of situations is give the person perpetrating the bullshit the validation they need to keep on going. And then it also shows it to copycats that they can get away with the same exact fucking thing. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and write them down in the comments below. My name is, of course, Mundane Matt. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support it or follow me on social media, links below in the video description. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.